Muy buenos días a todos. La Facultad de Estudios Superiores Acatlán de la Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México los recibe con agrado en esta ceremonia de apertura del First LEI Annual Conference, Education 4.0, The New Challenges for ELT. Damos la bienvenida a las autoridades que hacen el honor de acompañarnos en este día. En primera instancia tenemos a la maestra María Luisa Morales Martínez, jefa de la División de Humanidades. También contamos con la presencia de la maestra María del Consuelo Santa María Aguirre, coordinadora del programa de enseñanza de inglés. Y también contamos con la participación de la licenciada Giovanna Cecilia Armenta Ortiz, secretaria técnica del programa de enseñanza de inglés. Por favor, escuchemos a continuación un mensaje del Consuelo Santa María Aguirre.
Muchas gracias. Pues es un gusto y un honor, como siempre, como cada año, darles la bienvenida a este evento anual de nuestra licenciatura en enseñanza de inglés. También aprovecho para saludar la presencia de la coordinadora del Centro de Enseñanza de Idiomas, la licenciada Verónica Puma, que nos acompaña. Muchas gracias. Nosotros sabemos que esta licenciatura fue un proyecto nacido justamente del trabajo de colegas docentes de idiomas en ese gran centro que tenemos. En primer lugar, quisiera explicar un poco acerca del cambio de nombre de nuestro evento. Para la comunidad LEI es sabido que anteriormente teníamos cada año pues un tipo de evento diferente. Uno era el Espacio LEI y otro el Encuentro LEI, pero finalmente los objetivos y la participación se ha ido unificando a tal punto que decidimos de manera más práctica considerar el nombre para utilizar ya definitivamente cada año. Y en este caso, pues optamos por una palabra que nos remite a la idea de un congreso en donde nuestra comunidad de docentes y de estudiantes, tanto de la FES Acatlán como de otras instituciones, se dan cita para intercambiar sus ideas sobre los avances en las diferentes teorías y cómo se van aplicando a la práctica docente. Es también un espacio para conocer innovaciones, para darnos cuenta de cómo está transformándose el campo de la enseñanza de inglés, tanto dentro de nuestra universidad como en otras instituciones, tanto públicas como privadas. Para mí es un gran gusto ver aquí también a comunidad de profesores y de estudiantes de diferentes generaciones. Algunos también van a presentar proyectos de investigación, que es uno de los objetivos de este espacio. Ahora, el tema que nos ocupa en este evento es la educación 4.0, los nuevos retos para la enseñanza de inglés. En este contexto, quisiera yo recordar un poco a la audiencia. Yo sé que todos estamos en ese contexto, pero pues nunca está de más que a qué nos referimos con esta educación 4.0. Pues si recordamos nuestras clases de historia, si tuvimos la suerte de realizar estos procesos, recordaremos tal vez esa primera revolución industrial que se da con, pues sobre todo, la máquina de vapor, ¿no? La aplicación de la máquina de vapor en el siglo XVIII transforma la producción, ¿no? Y pues lo demás es historia. Tenemos una segunda revolución industrial que podríamos ubicar a fines del siglo XIX con la electricidad. Es decir, pasamos de un mundo con la luz natural y algunos tipos de lámparas a tener no solo pues iluminación, sino también energía para más máquinas, ¿no? Entonces, eso transforma radicalmente la vida de los seres humanos, nuestras prácticas sociales, el modo de producción y pues nuestra perspectiva sobre la vida. Y finalmente tenemos una tercera revolución industrial en 1969, por supuesto con la aparición de la informática. Tal vez a algunas personas aquí recuerden en películas, en series, esas grandes máquinas, esas cajas enormes que eran las primeras computadoras. y que causaron también pues una transformación en el mundo, de la cual pues muchas veces el arte también, el cine, la literatura, los medios de comunicación dan fe acerca de cómo se fue transformando la vida de los seres humanos. Hoy estamos en una cuarta transformación, ya caminando hacia la quinta, pero vamos a trabajar en esta ocasión por lo menos con la cuarta. Esta transformación está al uso de inteligencia artificial, a una revolución de aplicar la tecnología en diferentes campos. Nosotros no estamos exentos en el campo de la enseñanza de lengua y es por eso que decidimos dedicar pues el evento de este año a esta transformación. Pero no solo eso, también tenemos retos grandes como seres humanos. Tenemos pues todavía la recuperación de los efectos de la pandemia en el desarrollo pues, de la infancia, de la adolescencia. Incluso también nosotros como adultos estamos experimentando esas consecuencias y es un proceso de readaptación a prácticas que teníamos antes y a la vez adaptación a la incorporación de esta tecnología en nuestras vidas. Decía el gran escritor Sir Terry Pratchett que la inteligencia artificial no podría derrotar a la estulticia humana, pero pues esa es una de las primeras cuestiones que se van a explorar aquí. Vamos a ver de qué manera realmente podemos enriquecer el aprendizaje de los seres humanos mediante esas nuevas tecnologías. ¿Sí? Y también en este sentido, a la par que aprendemos a comunicarnos con la máquina, tenemos que seguir trabajando para comunicarnos como seres humanos. El reto de la educación socioemocional también está presente y ahora se exige mucho tanto de la docencia como del estudiantado en el sentido de que tenemos que ser capaces tecnológicamente en prácticas docentes efectivas, pero a la vez cuidar la empatía, cuidar el estado emocional del estudiantado y respetar pues estos sentidos de identidad que van surgiendo día a día. Por lo tanto, yo les agradezco a todas las personas que están aquí el interés y la presencia. Ya tenemos aquí a nuestro ponente principal de esta mañana, pero pues también quisiera pedirle ahora a la maestra María Luisa Morales Martínez, jefa de la División de Humanidades, pues un mensaje de bienvenida y después que nos haga favor de inaugurar este evento.
Muchísimas gracias a nuestra jefa de programa, maestra Consuelo, por esta invitación, de la cual estoy muy contenta de poder acompañar. Y bueno, pues de manera muy breve saludo a toda la comunidad LEI y además a los invitados que nos acompañan a este importante evento. Y a nombre de nuestras autoridades reconocemos el esfuerzo en la organización de esta actividad que estoy segura será no solo importante, sino también muy fructífera en todas las visiones que nos van a aportar. Bueno, pues como les decía, este evento académico es fruto de un esfuerzo donde profesores, académicos, docentes, alumnos e invitados de otras instituciones se unen y a lo largo de 2 días darán cuenta de las transformaciones que el campo de la enseñanza en inglés enfrenta y donde, por cierto, nuestra licenciatura es un referente importante en este plano. Es por ello que les deseamos mucho éxito a lo largo de estos 2 días para que este gran panorama, caleidoscopio que nos van a dar sobre las diferentes posturas, los retos que se tienen que enfrentar desde la enseñanza en inglés, pues puedan ser transmitidos y también podamos reflexionar al respecto. Bienvenidos, bienvenidas a la FES Acatlán, aunque de manera virtual, pero es un momento importante de unión, también de vínculo con la comunidad. Felicidades por esta gran iniciativa, este primer Congreso Anual de la Ley, como nos ha referido la maestra Consuelo, la transformación que ha implicado. Y no me queda más que decirles enhorabuena por esta iniciativa y cuando son las 9:26 26 de la mañana de este 4 de septiembre, pues damos formalidad a la inauguración de este primer Congreso Anual de la Ley. Felicidades, enhorabuena.
Agradecemos muchísimo sus palabras, maestras. Es de esta forma que damos por concluida esta ceremonia inaugural del First LEI Annual Conference Education 4.0, The New Challenges of ELT. Les invitamos a participar con entusiasmo en las diferentes actividades preparadas para este evento. Agradecemos mucho su presencia y amable atención. Let me introduce our first featured speaker, José Luis de Paz, who will discuss about the subject titled Paving Your Way to Success, Routes to Professional Development. He has been in ELT for more than 30 years, teaching English and Spanish at different levels and ages. He started his teaching pathway in isolated communities in Tabasco and Chiapas, moving on to teach at CONALEP, private language schools in Mexico City, and as an academic consultant for different publishers. He holds a diploma in English teaching to adults awarded by Cambridge ESOL. He has co-authored some teachers' books, and he is founder, academic director, and international exams specialist at Tyndale Education. Let's receive him with a warm applause.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have to say it is a great honor to have been invited to this event. Every time one has the opportunity to come back home, virtually this time, it brings great joy, of course, and it is a moment of being grateful for a different reason. I was a student here at the Licenciatura at LEI, and I feel very happy. The first time I received the invitation, I just want to thank to the organizers, the coordination, of course, and to the Jefatura for this invitation. But I also want to thank all my colleagues. We are LEI, José, somos LEI. So thank you once again. Let me share my slides now, and let's start, well, talking about different things, and I like to share this with you. Just allow me once very thumbs up in case you can see my slides already. Excellent, brilliant, wonderful, marvelous, right. Now, that's why I like this platform in Zoom, because it's better when we can actually see some reaction. So whenever you want to cheer up on something or say, I agree with something, there you have different reactions, emote icons that you can use. But also, if you are watching this on Facebook Live, you can always post your messages. And well, we are more than happy to read all of your messages that you have. Well, moving on then, and getting into business. Today, we will look at all roads lead to Rome. Actually, I had a typo there, but I intentionally leave it like that because I was looking at, okay, we are going to talk about the Roman Empire when we are in an ELT conference. Why is that? Well, I want to discuss a little bit on that because part of the metaphor I wanted to use for this conference is related to roads, to pathways, to exploring places. And there is one road that is particularly interesting in Italy. So that's why I decided to go into that reflection, to have an open up in this section. Moving on to a definition. What is success? How do we define it? Probably these days one will say, well, success is a very subjective thing. What is success to you might not be success for me. So let's talk about that. Then I will introduce you to different frameworks in education, particularly now that we are living in this transition between 4.0 and 5.0. We cannot put away the fact that we have to consider different frameworks in education. So we will show and share and sort of give you a brief analysis on what has happened in the last 10 years in that sense. Then I want you to discuss on the continuing professional development program, something that is sponsored by the British Council, and see your own development as teachers, we as professionals. If you are still at the university and you are still in the process of graduation, then you might think that it is still something ahead, but your development has already started. So we will discuss on that. However, we cannot put aside, as we listen to our coordinator mention very clearly, we cannot put aside our own social emotional learning. So I'll briefly discuss on SEL. I hope technology helps us and we can see, watch the video in case we cannot. Anyways, you will have the reference to the site. And just some conclusion in these topics that we want to discuss in this session. So thank you once again. Mille via ducum hominus per saecula Romam. Well, nobody told us that this was going to be a Latin class or the analysis of the classics. No, it is not. This is the original rendering in Latin for the expression that we have heard several times. So all roads lead to Rome. And when we think about all roads lead to Rome, what does that bring you to your head? Let's see if somebody wants to share on the chart. All roads lead to Rome. One day somebody was saying, the means justifies the end. I don't know if that is the correct interpretation of this expression, but well, actually, it is interesting that today, when we look at this expression, we definitely think about ancient Roman Empire and their conquest and the Caesars and all the pompous activities that they led more than 2,000 years ago. But guess what? The phrase was coined by somebody different. And you can easily ask, say in Google, the pattern of quick references, or AI, the artificial intelligence. See who coined this expression. All roads lead to Rome. Yes, I can see that some of you are already looking into your mobile devices, trying to find, yes, thank you. Alain Delille. Now, Alain Delille was a preacher. He was a French theologian, and he lived somewhere in the 12th century. So he was not exactly like very ancient, to say something. But he believed that somehow that expression represented very well the sort of activity and the spread of knowledge, whatever knowledge they had in those days and the wisdom they wanted to transfer, was always transferred through those ways and those roads. And yet, many young people today are always thinking about the university where they're going to study, and that's the place. That would be Rome. That's the place where they're going to go. Remember my days going from Iscali to Acatlán, and of course it was a long journey, but that was my road, and I was very happy to go onto that track. Now, if you are like me and you like a little bit more of research, probably you would like to know that this is the first original road that the Romans started to build. nearly 300 years before Christian preaching started in that part of the earth. So yes, the Romans were very clever engineers. They wanted to get to different places. The one you see on the pictures is the Appian Way of Via Appia. Now, this was not exactly like the longest road, but it was one of the first ones that was started by a man by the name Appius Claudius Caecus. So forgive me if my Latin is not my strongest art. But well, Mr. Appius Claudius one day decided we need to get to Capua as soon as possible. So yes, from Rome to Capua, they decided to pave the way, have very straightforward road, and get to Capua. Then there was somebody else by the name Trajan, and he says, "No, I don't think that's enough. We have to stretch our road into somewhere else and go to the south, west of southeast, sorry, in Italy." And as you can see on the map, it was not exactly like leading to all the different territories in the Roman Empire. So why did that theologian decided to say that all the roads lead to Rome? Well, Roman Empire was very big, extended all the way from the British Isles, Northern Africa, Asia Minor. The truth is that Romans were very dedicated people, and they decided to construct those campaigns and those roads and pave them and have them ready, so much that today we can still see them. So there is an evidence those roads were built and they stay there. That's sadly news for the Romans. Some of their enemies decided to use the same roads they had built to conquer and defeat them. So thank you, Romans, for all the good roads. Well, after this introduction, then we can start looking at some connections. In order to be successful, we normally think about success. Now, don't worry, I can see some of you picking your eyes trying to read. I'll show it to you. So, what is success? How do we define success? Once again, if you have your mobile device, if you want to try one of those portable dictionaries, you can start looking. What you define as success, and you will see the link in a moment with my opening discussion. Well, yeah, this is my favorite dictionary, and it's the Cambridge dictionary. You can have access to that. There is an application; it's for free. In case you want it without the flags and ads, then you can download it and by paying a fee. Honestly speaking, I don't work for Cambridge, so I don't really know about that. You can get it for free. What I love about this dictionary is the fact that you can see the entry, you can see the phonological writing, and also you can get some examples. So look at the first entry. It goes like the achieving of the result wanted or hoped for. That's what they say. And there are different examples, and I love these examples because the success of almost any project depends largely on its manager. Probably they are only thinking about the manager, not thinking about the team. I've been trying to persuade her to hire more people, but so far without success. Oh, well, that's something that was not achieved. Or how about I'm not having much success in communicating with him just now? Well, breaching communication, that sometimes happens, been there. The success rate for this operation is very low. So yes, success is connected to something that you want to get in terms of result, outcome, but also it's connected to something positive. You wouldn't collocate this expression success with something negative. I successfully failed the exam today. Uh, sounds like awkward, not proper. So let me have a little exercise with you, and let's start playing a little bit with words and see if we can do this. Now, I have a little bit of an audience of the place where I decided to connect. So, well, you pretend you are here and you are with your partner next to them, or if you are following this, you can start thinking about these images. If success is a meal, It tastes. What does it taste like? You can write it down. You can put it on the chart if you like, yes. Or you can simply say, I think it tastes like, I don't know, I like fish, but I would not compare success to fish. Well, it's delicious, but okay, I would say compare it to something else. Let me see what some of you are saying in the chat. Like a glory from Monterrey, the ones with chickens. Okay. Well, how about the next one? Number two. Number two. Let's. If success is a place, it is like where? Mountain. Again, now I live in Merida, down in the peninsula. I love it, and there are some fabulous places that I would say is really. The, but some people would like to compare it to the peak of the mountain. Yes, thank you, Tamara, thank you. Oh, an oasis, especially once you have been the very sunny day and very complicated time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your comment. What about number three? It's sound. It sounds like a human bird. I don't know if you have ever heard a human bird, but it has a soft sound in the air. I like Havana. She goes for big band jazz music. Okay, I definitely agree with Betty. Yes, ocean waves. Oh, Alison, excellent. A symphony, something that is complete. Now it's interesting that comparison to music. I might want to revisit it later. Look at number four. Let's look at number four. Think about if success is a moment. It is when I don't know. You tell me. I get overexcited whenever I do this activity. To be honest, this is the first time I do this activity. I've done something similar. You can adapt it to practice conditional for other things. So, if success is a moment, is when, okay, an unforgettable time, right? And something when you go, yes. If success is a feeling, it is, thank you very much. Okay, and there I have again some comments. Hmm, wonderful. Satisfaction. Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, all of your analogies, thank you very much, will help me to build on what we understand by success and how this connects to our professional development. Success is, if success is a building, it looks like, and let me share with you, this is Chichen Itza, the castle. This is a wonderful pyramid, one of the um, wonders of the modern world. And wow, I was meant to be an engineer, but somehow I failed calculus in high school. Sorry about my being anecdotic, but I remember just now. And I was afraid about going to engineering. Then a very close friend of mine decided to go to LEI, and I said, I think I can do that. But well, yes, now you notice why my analogies are related to roads, buildings, structures, etc. So yes, there is that feeling about engineering that I still like. Now, I believe this was a successful building because the Mayas built it many years ago, not so many years ago as what the Romans did with the Appian Way. This was built a little bit like 1,000 years later. Now, something fabulous is the fact that neither the Mayas nor the Romans knew each other, so there was no internet, no way to share their technology. But I'm sure that the Mayas felt very satisfied. Like you say, if success is a feeling, it's like satisfied. So I'm sure they were very happy about it. However, when the building was originally found, uh, the feeling of finding this wonderful pyramid, I'm sure was like a yes, we did it. So yes, success may have different faces or different shapes. Why do I want to talk about construction, paving, and success? Because in the end, if we are going to have success on something or about something, we need to measure it. Now, time has proven that both the Appian Way and Chichen Itza Castle are excellent constructions. But how can we know, how do we know that we are achieving that success, that we are progressing and moving on to in education? That's why we have created framework. Now, a framework is nothing but a list of, or like rubric or statement or some indication, some roadmap that will guide us into understanding, a better understanding on where we are and how we can do it. Well, it's interesting that both the Romans and the Mayas relied on available material. The Romans decided to use ashes from the volcanoes. By the way, I found out that there is this interesting name for the combination of materials they use, and they call it pozzolana. I was wondering, maybe pozole comes from pozzolana. I don't know. Well, there's no connection between food and mixing other materials, but it was interesting. The Mayas decided to use the limestone that is abundant here in the region. And of course, it's a very solid material. No way you can avoid being admired by the fact that that limestone was carved, prepared, and be put together in those days. So, yes, having access to what your resources are is crucial in order to build your own road to success or to build your own progress. There is how the frameworks in education will help us. Some years ago, I was collaborating as an academic consultant with Pearson Education. Thank you, Pearson. And it was interesting, but in those days, we were exploring different things about the partnership for the 21st century education, or as it was known in those days, P21. Now, if you Google for P21, I hope that you are good at studying and analyzing molecules because there is another definition of P21. So don't feel misled. Look for or Google for Battelle Coquet. That's an organization. They are based in the United States, and they decided in 2015 to adopt all of these framework, and they started now spreading a little bit more information. Now, what's interesting about the Partnership for the 21st Century Skills is this: they were innovative in the sense of looking at different areas of achievement. One, yes, life and career skills. Other, going into the learning and innovation skills. There is when we started with the 4C: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. Now, I learned that with an author that she's a teacher in Japan, but she was visiting us some time ago. You can go with critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. Of that. That way, you can remember the 4C. And also, they look into the information media and technology skill. Underneath these achievements, they said it is necessary that we reinforce three R's, or key subjects and the three R's. Key subjects like social, science, math. But the three R's, you will be surprised what they are. Normally, if we think about an acronym and you think about three R's, it's a word that is started with an R, right? Well, not really. The first R is reading. And the second R is writing. Start with an R, but it sounds. And the third R is arithmetic. Yes. In order to have a successful achievement in those different areas, life, innovation, learning, information, we needed to have a solid foundation on the core subjects and of course on those three R's. Those are the ones that were considered in order to build up the 20th century thing. Now I'm telling you that this is new, eh? This is more than 12 years ago they started spreading the word, and now many curriculum materials are using is now fitting into standards and assessments, is guiding into curriculum and instruction, of course, and it's fostering professional development, different teachers, and even it's influencing the way we look at the learning environment, hands-on activities, how we pick up our students, how are we arranging and organizing the different places. Even if we are designing learning objects, which is now a new task that teachers have, you normally have to think about those 21st century themes. Well, that's one framework. Very recently, or at least in the last 7 years, Cambridge University Press an assessment. In those days, was only Cambridge University Press. Assessment was a different department. We were like roomies, living in the same house. One pays the rent, the other does the. It's all a joke, sorry. Uh, but just now they are Cambridge University Press and assessment. In those days, under the leadership of Cambridge University Press, they started building and working with different teachers. And I had the privilege to be among some of the local consultants that work with teachers in different focus groups. And we listened to what they thought it was essential for their life learning skills, what was necessary if we wanted to boost our learners' careers. And we received interesting feedback. With that feedback, they started looking at the different strands. And finally, now we have something that we know as the uh, the framework to develop skills for life. Now, let me make it a little bit bigger because I'm sure your eyes are like mine, and then we start. They think about the 4 C's, remember, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creative thinking. So they are included. But they decided to add learning to learn skills and social responsibilities. What I found interesting on this new framework is the fact that they decided to include as one of the strands that was the support of the foundation, emotional development. So now you understand why everybody is talking about emotional development. Well, this is Cambridge University Person Assessment. That's the path they are following, and they want to prompt that. Definitely, they have to foster digital literacy plus discipline knowledge. Now, when I say discipline knowledge, I don't mean the sort of knowledge that we might think about having everything under control, but thinking about a different subject. Well, yeah, the foundation layer, emotional development. I am not going to talk too much about that now, but I will revisit. In this transition we're living in our era, digital literacy is essential. It is everywhere. Now one has to learn how to use Google Maps to plan a route and go to different places. And when we think about that, and very recently my brothers and I decided to give our parents, thank God they are still living very happily in Coatzacoalcos, 84, 86. Dad is younger, mom is 86. And we wanted to give them a cellular phone, a mobile phone to be in touch with them. Then another brother decided to go a little bit a step beyond and he says, let's have an Alexa in the house. They put an Alexa in the house. Well, my father started chatting with Alexa, and you know that AI is somehow very clever, and it started analyzing the taste, the sort of music he was asking, and Alexa started interacting more. One day, mom said, can you please turn that lady off because your dad only talks to her. Well, that is an anecdote that comes from the family, but it clearly reflects this situation that is living in the society today. I mean, the fact that we are sharing, learning, and sharing our experiences. The moment you start looking for some music on Spotify or any other platform you use, you will immediately get a response. Now, that is part of the digital literacy we have to learn. But also, very recently, ChatGPT has come to change and look at the ways of different things. And many teachers are afraid because they say, is that going to replace us? Not quite. This is not the formal, this is not my chat, but you will listen to experts as well talking about the chat GPT. Discipline knowledge is essential and crucial because we need to prepare students for things that are not yet visible, problems that are not problems in these days. And yet we have to get them ready for that. That means developing more critical thinking, but also their collaboration in order to solve those problems. By the way, and this is a post, we definitely need more English teachers because in the area, for example, where I live, there is a constant movement in terms of investment, not only on the real estate, but yes, they are building lots of houses in this place. I might not be that happy about that, but well, that's another story. But something that is happening is that they are always trying to look, there are different investors trying to promote in the communities. Now, that's something fabulous, how to help those communities to produce, but building a sense of sustainability and with a much eco responsible reaction. And that is helping many communities because now they are receiving income, good income in some places, better income that they used to have in the past. And yes, that changes their perspective and their way of living. But in order to have those, we need to have people that can really communicate in English, that can really look at these investors and talk to them and sell the project. Locally, in the state of Yucatan, some years ago, I was invited by British Council to participate in a program for the university level. And it was very interesting because I was impressed by the level of English of our teachers here in the area. And not only that, many of them with a very clear knowledge and perspectives on other areas with their teacher development. So the next step was there. I mean, the foundation. Today, they don't receive anymore any support from any other uh, uh, university, only the local university, from us another local institution. They are taking the control and helping more in those different initiatives. So yes, when we think about those areas, it's essential then that we look into the sort of competencies we need to build. But what about us as teachers? Where are we now in this picture? Well, the British Council has a program known as Teaching for Success. Now, once again, now thanks to the British Council for these wonderful, wonderful materials they are producing. All of these resources, by the way, teachers that I've been showing, both the Cambridge Life Competences is available for free on the Cambridge site. And this one is available on Teaching for Success, teachingenglish.org. And they are materials that you can easily download, sorry, and you can use in your own development. Probably you have seen it. Now, why do I want to revisit this? Because of the pathways to success. Now, not 6, not 7, not 10, but 12 different areas that they decided to adopt. Practices, different strands where we would be able to look at our own development, both for self reflection and also to build um, order knowledge and to analyze where we are and what we do next. Let me focus on one of them. If you see, it's interesting that some of them, again, overlap or somehow reinforce the previous frameworks. For example, look at number 11, promoting 21st century skills. So if I started my conversation, I'm focusing on that framework, is because it is there to stay. We use it in materials design, and we need to understand better how we can align our practices into promoting 21st century skills or managing resources. These days, you have different resources to produce digital materials. You even have the opportunity to produce educational videos. I was collaborating on a teacher's guide, and what I really like about that material was that they decided to include the videos on Twitter. Yes, they have a link on the book that takes students to Twitter, and they watch somebody give an explanation and, of course, outcome, giving them a little bit introduction, which is what we used to have before. I mean, we have lots of YouTubers decided to dedicate their lives to designing that. But it was tons of information. Sometimes information was not that reliable. Sometimes it was impressively good, too long to use. But then how do we manage that? Let me go into number 8. Now, I like 8 because 8 is my favorite number, different reasons. In a world of coincidence, listen to this. My wife's birthday is on the 8th of September. My birthday is on the 8th of November. And my daughter, little one, is on the 8th December. Yeah, we didn't plan that. So it's only our favorite number. Let's analyze these different stages that they have. And this helps us to pave our way. Now, I am going to use that expression now. Because if I am going to do that APN way in my professional development, I need to start somewhere. And that's why the stages of professional development really qualified and adapt different areas where we are. For example, at an initial level, if you see this is like a rule, like a checklist, an initial level of competency, whether you are looking at taking responsibility on teacher development or managing resources, you have heard of this professional practice, then you are at stage number 1. Yeah, your way goes down and says understanding. You know what the professional practice means and why it is important. So there is a little bit more awareness, and that's why not we move into understanding how it works. Engagement. You demonstrate competency in this professional practice at work. So you put it into practice, you use it. And integration. You demonstrate a high level of competency in this professional practice, and this consistently informs what you do at work. Now let's analyze why we want to look at those different stages. So I decided I was going to pick up number 8. Taking personal responsibility for professional development. Now, let's look into ourselves today. We have very busy lives, whether we are students or teachers or professionals in the different areas. We have to deal with different things. We become like jugglers. So there is a moment when we probably start thinking like, "Oop, I don't really have time for that. I'm running out of time." Or, "Oh, that's a very interesting conference, but I cannot connect today." Or, "Very interesting course that they're delivering. I know it's for free, but I really have a lot of things to study and prepare." So we might start thinking about all the different obstacles we have not to continue developing on different areas. What does it imply? What is it implied in this taking responsibility? And pay attention to the moments when they use the word "my." So that's me. And that's what I like about this framework now, because that they go into the much more self-reflection, much more personal, understanding my professional needs. Yes, just look at your neighbor next to you. They're not exactly like you. Interests, learning preferences, in order to identify areas for development. Defining my short, medium, long-term career goals. Now, this is crucial, teachers, because in the end, we want to prompt those areas as well, and we want to help others so that they can do it. And when somebody achieves something in a certain given time, probably not everyone has the opportunity to do it. So we need to understand your own needs. Understanding the developmental pathways available to reach my specific career goals, or using technology to facilitate my professional development, or staying update with developments in education, in teaching and learning. Interesting framework, right? It's a very interesting framework. I'm sure that once you start exploring, if you have seen them before and you say, oh, okay, nice, it was a long list of different things to do, nobody can achieve them. Start thinking like it's like a menu when you go to a restaurant. You don't really have to pick them all. You simply pick the ones that you feel you are much more interested. I like number 8. Which one is your favorite? Well, this brings me now to the point of SEL, or social emotional learning. That's another acronym. We love acronyms in our professions, don't we? Well, another acronym to learn. T21, SEL, OC, SEL. With the pandemic, it was very clear that education was really fighting with different situations, both teachers on the one hand and the students in isolation. We had to really face a different condition. Um, However, we decided to do something about it, and we started investigating. If we didn't know how to use Zoom, we became subscribers. If we didn't know how to use any other platform, Google Meet or Teams, etc. It was There was a moment in my career during the pandemic. In one school, we were using Zoom. I was an expert in Zoom, but with the British Council, we had a program and we had to use Teams. They didn't like Zoom, some breach of security, something like that. I don't know, but they say no. Let's use Teams. And yet we don't know the program. Still within the British Council, the local authorities. This was the program. They decided that no, we have a Google Education account. Let's use it. So we were using Google Meet. So there was a point I have meetings on Meet, meetings on Zoom, meetings on Teams, meetings on different platforms. However, moving around from the platforms, there's these feelings that we have and we have to face. And those feelings, those emotions that we have to face are always present. Let me share with you one of my first videos. Only two, but this is one of the first ones. This is a story about dyslexic teacher. I want you to pay attention to the emotions that you see among people, the emotions you perceive in the teacher, and a little bit the community, right? So three things: the people, the, the teacher, the community. Let's see what you think about it. Let me stop sharing this, and now let me share the video. In the hope that you should be able to listen to the video. Don't read my emails. Thank you very much. Can everyone see the screen now? Now, let's hope technology helps us, because I've tried to do this once with Facebook Live and it was really painful. But thank God we have support here today. It's about 4 minutes long, so I will just close my video so you can enjoy this video.
When I find out that I won the 2023 Cambridge Dedicated Teacher Award, I was so happy to the extent that I nearly start crying.
On behalf of Cambridge University Press and Assessment, I present to you the certificate of the winner for Cambridge Dedicated Teachers Award.
We felt so honored that as a village school to have won that glamorous award. Even the parents in the village, they were all happy to see that something good could come out from a once neglected village that everybody had written off. Today, we are learning about numbers. My dream in life is always to be a teacher because I happen to be a child that grew up having dyslexia. The best I can do for my likes who are equally struggling is for me to be a teacher because I know where the shoe pinches. If I am able to impact the life of a person, I believe it's an impact in the life of thousands and millions. In 2020, when there was COVID, there was no opportunity for any children to learn anything because schools were closed. As a teacher, I felt so disturbed. But I was privileged to be among the few teachers that was invited to be among those that would teach to provide alternative learning opportunity for children during the COVID era. This was done through television and radio programs. I was very happy to be part of that program, and I must confess that that has given me an opportunity to really see that learning goes beyond a four wall of a classroom. Our children, they are blessed. We only need to harness their potential to discover the greatness in them. Give children opportunity to see beyond a mere textbook letters and think about what they can do to make their life meaningful in the future. When I was in school, there's this teacher, Mr. Alade, our government teacher. Mr. Alade is such a dedicated teacher that despite not having our subjects, you will see him moving around the corridor of our classrooms, looking for an empty class where he will just enter and teach. Ever since then, I've always wondered that why is this man deriving so much joy in doing this? Not realize that whatever you have passion for, you always look for a way to impart it. So, Mr. Alade, thank you. Your action has motivated me to be a teacher, and today I'm being celebrated as the most dedicated teacher by Conferencia University Press. I owe you for instilling in me the need to be dedicated to one's profession. Thank you, sir.
Well, any thoughts? What do you think about that? Any emotion that were triggered while you were watching? Or probably something that you now remember from the same moment, the same experiences we had being and teaching in lockdown. Yes, sometimes we might be overwhelmed by our own emotions, but the moment we see this successful story, think about that. I mean, dyslexic. In the first place, one would say, why is he a teacher? He's dyslexic. Yes, but he is a teacher. One of my friends in this profession and a wonderful author and an excellent consultant is also dyslexic. And I'm not going to say his name because probably is the last thing that everybody wants to say. But he's a very well-known consultant. And very few people would ever think that such a fabulous, eloquent person would be dyslexic. One day we were at the office, and then he approaches me and says, "Jose Luis," he's a native speaker, by the way. So that's why I don't want to mention his name because he's really famous. He approaches me and says, "Jose Luis, can you look up this writing? It's my abstract for a conference." And I was wondering why does he ask me? But when I am non-native, and probably there are more chances that I make lots of mistakes when I'm writing. But anyways, I started reading and I said, it is fine. I don't know why you wanted me to check. And well, that was a moment when he finally unraveled this secret of his life. He says, I am dyslexic and I'm still happy. I said, I don't believe you because you have published different books. And he says, Editors are wonderful. They do lots of wonderful things for me, but I I still have some issues. So you see, we cannot stay there, and this goes again to inclusive teaching in the CPD, because we need to find ways of making things happen. And look at the comments that some teachers have. For example, a teacher says, "I never heard of that award before. Alison, thank you." And she felt quite motivated. Yes, because in a very isolated community, that's why I thought you think about the place, think about the people, think about the teachers. By the way, now that we're talking about my analogy, you notice the roads to get to the community? Well, how about people's faces? They were so happy because they had one of their equals, one of their locals receiving an international award. So the first time, yes, the same time as you, it's ways to find different solutions. Why is this connected to social emotional learning? Well, let me guide you to my second video, and this is the last one. This is something sponsored by CASEL, CASEL organization. This is an organization based in the United States. But they started very serious work into building a framework for social emotional learning. So look, you have seen partners for the 21st century skills framework. You have seen the life competencies framework by Cambridge. You have seen the CPD by the British Council. Have a look at the following by CASEL organization. I'm sharing now again. And once again, I will close my video so you can concentrate on this. It's a very short video this time.
Think about the young people in your lives and all the different places where they're learning about themselves, how to relate to others, and work together on goals. How can we intentionally create learning experiences that will help all young people develop and maintain positive relationships, become lifelong learners, and contribute to a more caring, just world? Educators, researchers, community members, families, and the students themselves agree what we need is social and emotional learning, or SEL. SEL is the process through which young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that help us to understand ourselves, connect with others, achieve our goals, and support our communities. We all need opportunities to learn and engage in environments where we feel safe, valued, and a sense of belonging. So how does SEL help schools, families, and communities work together so that all young people have these kinds of learning experiences and achieve success in education, careers, and life? CASEL's framework identifies 5 areas of competence that together help us develop a healthy sense of who we are, manage stress, understand the views of others, and work together to create schools and communities where everyone can grow their strengths and interests. Self-awareness is about how we think about ourselves and who we are. It includes understanding our culture, our thoughts, feelings, and what we believe we're capable of, and understanding how these things can influence our behaviors and beliefs. Self-management is the ability to manage those emotions, thoughts, and actions in different situations so that we can achieve individual and collective goals. This includes coping with stress and anxiety, persevering through challenges, and taking action to create positive change. Social awareness is how we understand others, how we learn to take different perspectives and empathize even with people who are different from us. It also includes understanding how the broader norms and systems around us influence how we develop and create a sense of belonging. Relationship skills are how we connect and engage effectively with others, and how we form lasting friendships and connections. This includes communicating clearly, solving problems together, managing conflict and disagreements, and standing up for ourselves and the rights of others. Lastly, responsible decision-making is how we put it all together to make caring and constructive choices. This includes thinking critically about consequences, analyzing the impact of our actions on ourselves and others, and identifying solutions that support our collective well-being. We continue to develop and practice SEL throughout our lives and can adapt and apply these competencies across different contexts and cultures. How we develop SEL is impacted by our environments, which is why we need to work together across classrooms, schools, families, and communities. In the classroom, students can be explicitly taught SEL skills and also can practice and apply SEL during core subjects, like discussing different perspectives in social studies and language arts, or collaboratively problem solving in science or math. SEL is most effective when supported by evidence-based programs and trusting relationships where students are treated as partners in their learning. Beyond the classroom, SEL can be intentionally promoted throughout the school experience, from the way they're greeted in the morning to how discipline practices are carried out and how adults themselves develop and model positive relationships and the SEL competencies. Outside of school, families and caregivers provide the earliest and ongoing learning and interactions for their children, so it's important that schools listen to and authentically partner with families to help shape SEL priorities and strategies for supporting their children. Similarly, when schools partner with community organizations to align their efforts, SEL opportunities can be strengthened and students benefit even more. With SEL, we can help create schools and learning spaces where all young people feel connected, inspired, engaged, and ready to contribute to the world around them.
So this is SL organization, and like I said, this is the last framework. Sorry, I hadn't turned off my video thing. What do you think? Have you seen have you seen this framework before? Is this the first time to look at it? Have you heard of it? Well, Maria Consuelo has already seen it. Wonderful. Thank you. Well, the fact that we connect finally with this, and this is leading into my conclusion, is that we cannot neglect as what we read um, on our professional development, but yes, we need to think about ourselves, how we fit in the community. You all constantly read stories of success, on the media about athletes, actors, artists, some people sadly fighting against depression. And yes, our emotions are always present no matter what we do because we are human beings. We are not just a program that can be adapted to specific rules. We are different. So that's why it's important to build up on those social awareness um, criteria or this last framework. So another food for thought that you might want to explore again is casel.org. My final tips then to pave your way to success. First of all, keep on learning new things, and dear colleagues. Not only will you enhance your mind skills, but you will always understand that feelings of initial frustration. Oh no, this is too difficult, complicated. Why do I have to learn Japanese? As part of our LEI program, we always have to learn a non-Indo-European language. And I can see the faces of someone. Well, at least I remember we had to learn another language. I tried Japanese, but it was like Chinese to me. But yeah, all right. Once you finally achieve something and you learn it, I strongly recommend you're watching Carol Dweck, listen, and Angela Lee Duckworth. The first one is an expert from Stanford University. I'm sure you have watched her video somewhere or listened to some other consultant talking about her because she's a reference. She clearly talks about growth and fixed mindset. That moving track behind our emotions and in order to achieve success. Now, Carol Dweck, uh, she's again a teacher, but she decided to start working on grit. Now, grit is that stamina, that determination that we need to develop. So next time you feel you cannot achieve something, well, develop a little bit more growth mindset and become grittier and much more determined. Another, read. Read Angela's Ashes and Fisherman by Frank McCourt. I found this fabulous Pulitzer winner when I was a teacher at the Anglo-Mexican Foundation, and I have to say thank again to the Anglo for wonderful days I spent with them. And one of my colleagues, we started exchanging and sharing books, and she gave me Angela Sachs for reading, and I couldn't let it go. If you haven't read it, read it, because next time you feel the world completely miserable and difficult, you might just say, ha, 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 as Frank McCourt says several times. Uh, Read Elizabeth Gilbert. I know there is a movie, but read the book. You will always delighted with the book. Eat, pray, love. One woman's search for everything, and you will pick up your best successful moments, embrace them, and celebrate. Ah, last but not least, keep on reading, and you can subscribe to Time Higher Education. This is if you are coordinators or authorities, or you are teachers in the professional development training. This is going to help us with interesting, very updated information. Today, just today, they published a very interesting story about success from watching cars to buy transfer. You can Google it or you can search it at Time Higher Education. It's for free. About language, Tech Improving Literacy and Communication Language Magazine is another online magazine sponsored by studyshare.org. And last but not least, edutopia.org, and see George Lucas Fund in action to promote education and not only Star Wars never ending story. Having said that, dear teachers, we are LEI, some of LEI. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Jose Luis de Paz, for such an enlightening presentation. Please accept our sincere appreciation for sharing your time and experiences with us. We all hope that you had a great time talking about such an exciting topic.
It is my pleasure and an honor once again. Thank you very, very much.
It is time for us to introduce our next guest speaker, Andrea Noemi Córdoba Ramírez. She is a social change believer and art enthusiast who will talk about her topic titled Live Your Best Life While Teaching Languages. In regards to her experience, she has concluded the bachelor's degree in English language teaching, experienced teaching diverse groups with different focus, ages, and learning objectives. She has also passionately designed material, especially when it comes to literature and poetry. We are so glad to see you here, Andrea.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let me see if my camera is working. Just a second. Hi, can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad of being here again. Year by year, I like to watch. Sorry. Okay. So, well, hi again. As Eric has already mentioned, my name is Andrea, and I am gonna give you a presentation, which is Live Your Best Life While Teaching Languages. And I am gonna share my presentation. Let me. I don't know why it is not letting me share it.
Try again, please.
Okay. No, not really.
You are now a co-host.
Pero hay varias conferencias, güey. Hay un chico, vas a decir que ya estudios
No, I have already tried, but okay, yeah. Let me know when you can see it, please.
Ready.
Excellent. Okay. So first of all, I would like to start telling you that when I chose this topic, I was not really sure on what I was doing. It started as a philosophical research on my own experiences regarding English language teaching. So the result was totally different from what I imagined, to be honest, but I am glad it was this way because the result was even better from what I imagined. So first of all, I would like to start with a quote. There's no better way to learn than to teach, by Benjamin Whitcomb. This Cambridge Platonist leader society, he was my inspiration in order to start this research and to motivate myself to participate regarding this community again. So it was all a cathartic process, and I had to motivate myself, as I told you, because I